Renters got a major rights boost in England. The global deforestation rate surge and a living reef took shape in Wales, plus more good news. This week's good news roundup: new law, a victory of a lifetime for England's renters. England's 11 million private renters have been granted the most significant boost to their rights in decades thanks to a landmark bill passed by the UK government. At the heart of the Renters' Rights Act is a ban on no-fault evictions, a discriminatory practice that has pushed thousands of people into homelessness. This is the victory of a lifetime for renters, said Sarah Elliott, chief executive of the housing and homelessness charity shelter. England's 11 million renters will finally be unshackled from the gross injustice of no-fault evictions that have made thousands homeless. Another element of the Act is Awaab's law, which obliges social landlords, including councils and housing associations, to fix emergency health and safety hazards within 24 hours of them being reported. It's named after 2-year-old Awaab Ishak, who died in 2020 after prolonged exposure to mould. The Act also empowers tenants to keep pets and challenge unfair rent increases, while prohibiting landlords from rejecting would-be tenants because they have children or are on benefits. The government has yet to set a date for when the changes will come into force. Image Kelly's sycamore slowing deforestation rate, a hopeful trend. Deforestation has slowed in every region of the world over the past decade, according to a new report by the UN Food and Agriculture Organization (FAO). Describing the findings as a hopeful trend, the FAO also noted that more than half of forests are now covered by long-term management plans, while 1/5 are within legally established protected areas. The FAO's latest data estimates that the world lost 10.9 hectares of forest annually in the last decade, down significantly on the 13.6 hectares lost per year in the previous 10 years, and the 17.6 hectares lost in the decade before that. In total, forests cover 4.14 billion hectares, about 1/3 of the planet's landmass, it said. However, despite the hopeful findings, the FAO warned that the world is still losing far too much of its forests. Read more. 5 workable solutions to deforestation. Image Vlad Hilitanu. Breath test could transform pancreatic cancer diagnosis. A breath test for pancreatic cancer is being trialled in the UK in hope that it could transform the diagnosis of a disease that often goes undetected until it's too late. Pancreatic Cancer UK, the charity funding the pilots, described the trial as the most significant step toward a life-saving breakthrough in 50 years. Data shows that only 4.3% of people diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in the UK survive the disease for 10 years or more, a stat which has barely budged in 50 years. However, that could soon change thanks to a simple breath test, which comes off the back of a 2-year study by Imperial College London. Researchers analysed more than 700 breath samples from people with and without the disease and found that volatile organic compounds present in the breath can indicate early stages of the disease. The breath test has the potential to revolutionise the early detection of pancreatic cancer, said Diana Jupt, CEO of Pancreatic Cancer UK. While more years of development are still needed before we can put this exciting new technology into the hands of GPs, thousands of patients with an unknown diagnosis will now help refine it in the real world. Image Pancreatic Cancer UK. Data debunked a myth about the energy transition. Climate skeptic politicians routinely peddle the narrative that the green energy transition is pushing up energy bills. A new study has found that the opposite is true. According to research by University College London, the UK's burgeoning wind power sector cut into 4.2 billion from the country's energy costs between 2010 and 2020. The study, which has yet to be peer-reviewed, said that cheaper energy from wind farms resulted in electricity bills being 14.2 billion lower than they would have been if gas had been required to generate the same amount of power. A further 138.3 billion savings, researchers added, came from wind power pushing down gas prices by weakening demand and not having to build more gas infrastructure. When factoring in the 42.3 billion citizens were charged in green subsidies, the overall savings were 104.3 billion. The research does not cover the period following Russia's invasion of Ukraine, which sent gas prices skyrocketing. Our study demonstrates that the energy transition is not a costly environmental subsidy, it is a compelling financial investment, the report's author said. Image Hakut's Chasers Solutions. Every Saturday, uplift your inbox with our weekly newsletter. Positive News editors select the week's top stories of progress, bringing you the essential briefing about what's going right. Sign up. Bereaved parents brought hope to a divided land. A grassroots movement of bereaved Palestinian and Israeli families is working to build peace where politics has failed. Positive News reported this week's United by Unimaginable Loss. The Parents Circle Families Forum (PCFF) is made up of Israeli and Palestinian parents who have lost children during the conflict. It was founded in 1994, but has renewed purpose since the latest war in Gaza and the fragile ceasefire deal. Once you recognize your joint pain, but you share the same color of tears, it becomes a completely different story, said the PCFFS wrote by Damon. Read more here. Illustration: the project, Twins a Living Reef, took shape off Wales. A living reef is taking shape off the coast of Wales, where 50,000 native oysters have been deployed to restore the seabed. The oysters were dropped in the Dorgal Dart estuary in Pembrokeshire, where they will filter seawater, store carbon and provide shelter for other marine species. The project, led by the Marine Conservation Society, is part of a wider effort to restore hero species such as oysters, seagrass and kelp along the UK's western coastline. These adult oysters are more than just a species.